So now we will move on to know the senior most academic leader of this particular nation. We have with us Dr. Naveen Seth. I welcome you, sir, on behalf of the entire educator fraternity and ICT Academy. And Dr. Naveen Seth, is a very, very long-standing academic leader, so no introduction is needed. Still, he is the vice chancellor of the TU, Gujarat Technical University, and he's a very renowned educationist and administrator. And even though he pursued his education in pharmacy, inform and inform, then over a period of time he has developed himself as a multi-dimension man with knowledge and multidisciplinary areas. And now he manages the largest, the large university in Gujarat. And he's a current member of various committees and the teams in the UGC, DST, NAC, NBA, and he provides guidance to all these bodies on their working processes on each of the committees. So he's also one of the strongest researcher. So he's done a lot of research work in this area, and he's got a lot of research scholar who had successfully done a good amount of research work. And Professor Seth was also awarded some various awards, including the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Karnataka, and various other awards. And I'm sure this profile goes too big for me to read at this point in time. But it's very important to tell all of you, we ICT Academy has closely engaged with Professor Seth. Wherever we go to his office, the kind of humbleness and hospitality he renders is something which we all will learn from him. So with this, let me invite Dr. Naveen Seth to deliver your address to the education community. Dr. Naveen.
Namaskar. Hello, good morning to one and all here. Very first, I congratulate the ICT Academy to giving me an opportunity to interact with all such a large gathering online. Now, the topic that is with the ICT decided, that is on the future of skills, education, employment, and entrepreneurship scheme. Means very wide topic. And Ashutosh has already given the highlights related with the education and industry, etc. So Ashutosh has rightly said that there is a definite gap between the educational institutes and the industry demand. It is very accepted, because suppose nowadays there is a time for artificial intelligence, data science, IoT, but the conventional university and other university, very few university imparting these courses. So the flexibility, very stringent rules, regulations, statutes and other things with the university. So the implementation is very, very slow. The syllabus and other thing, but sometimes after 10 years, the same syllabus students are pursuing. This is the hard fact of the education institutes. Now, suppose this topic means the education, unemployment, or the entrepreneurship, all these are interrelated. After 2015, there is a policy by the central government for innovation, startups and other things. Previously, there is no such ecosystem, no such words are common in educational institute as far as the research is concerned, innovation is concerned, zero work. Suppose means the whole education system that is based on marks, class, CGPA and etc. Totally exam oriented. Our students, our young budding students, our technocrats, they have the idea, they are very potential, they have creativity, but they are not getting an opportunity, they are not getting a platform to nurture their idea, to nurture their creativity. Suppose any students come with an idea, means a solution of particular problems, and he approaches his faculty, his teacher, that what the teacher says, very cold response from the teacher. Yes, your idea is very good, but you concentrate now on exam. You finish your graduation, and after completing your graduation, you do whichever you like. Presently, don't waste your time. So this is the hard fact. Means the creativity of innovation, the spirit of innovation, the ideas are killed at the educational institutes. This is the hard fact, and we cannot blame to anyone. It is our educational system. But after 2015, when this innovation policy, startup policy framed by the central government, by the AICT, slowly the ecosystem is developed in the educational institutes. No doubt, even many universities still there is no incubation center and nothing such platform. But slowly the ecosystem is developed. Government is trying to develop the ecosystem, and the MHRD and AICT, they are arranging the Smart India Hackathon. The 3rd edition is already over. 4th edition was there in the 1st April and 2nd April, but due to this corona, it is now postponed. And in that Smart India Hackathon, the problems collected by the government from the different sectors, from the different department, either it is a transportation department, textile department, railway department, health department, all problems and their problem definition are placed openly, and applications are invited from all over the India. Then it is scrutinized, and there is a non-stop hackathon. Smart India Hackathon is arranged by the government. Even our Honorable Prime Minister is interacting every time with the different teams at the different centers. So this is the position in which, and the efforts by the government to create an ecosystem. And we are getting some results also. Suppose my university, it is just a state university. We are supporting our students. We have created an end-to-end support system. We say it is S4, Student Startup Support System. So end-to-end means the idea, and in pre-incubation stage, slowly it is matured, it is shaped, mentoring and everything up to the proof of concept, and later on to the product or the applications. So we are supporting them. Even government of Gujarat has framed the student startup innovation policy. 200 crores were spent for this SSIP policy, and each student, if he had the solution of the problems and idea, and it is cleared by the university committee, then they give the 2 lakhs rupees. And we have supported about 169 such students. Out of 169 students, our 29 students, they have established their companies. They generated revenue of more than 12 crore rupees, and they are exporting their products. They are selling their products. They have employed 525 people. Means instead of job seekers, they are now job givers. So such a large country with such a large population, even as far as the engineering is concerned, there are 36 lakhs intact capacity of the engineering colleges in India. And the pass out every year, 7 lakhs, 8 lakhs are pass out. So it is very difficult to have the job of all these 7, 8 lakhs technocrats every year. But if they go for a startup, their own companies, then they are the employer. And definitely, we solve that problem. So this is the one part of the education, employment, and entrepreneurship. Now, in post-COVID or in present situation, you see that 203 countries were affected. Even the yesterday data of the globally by the Hopkins University, the positive case worldwide, it is 42 lakhs 98,269, and death worldwide globally 2 lakhs 93,514. As far as the India is concerned, the positive case is 74,281 and the death is 2,418. So this is the data of yesterday night, 11 o'clock. So as far as the large population of our country, but the disease is under control by the government efforts, by the precautions taken by the government. But in post-COVID, there may be a lot of challenges with India, lot of opportunity also. And our educational institute has to be ready to prepare our students to beat that challenges and convert the challenges into the opportunity. Suppose, as far the India is concerned, and particularly the health and sectors, drugs and pharmaceuticals, we are the leaders. As far as the volume is concerned, volume of the drug and pharmaceuticals globally, our rank is number 3. As far as the value is concerned, our rank is 13, because our is a cheap medicine. No doubt it is a quality medicines. We are with that par with the US FDA. For your information, this US FDA approved plant outside the US, that is maximum 525 plants, which is approved by the US FDA, Food Drug Administration of America. They are in India. And the generic medicines is concerned, globally, we are 80% supply from India for generic medicines. So India is a hub of pharmaceuticals for a quality products, cheap products. WHO is using our medicines, means Indian medicines, for their different program in the underdeveloped countries. But as far as the API is concerned, active pharmaceuticals ingredient is concerned, we are depends on China. Our 80% API means active pharmaceutical ingredients we are importing from China. Means we are dependent. So in post-COVID, we have an opportunity because Japan has declared and offer the subsidy. If any plant, means a Japanese industrialist is coming out from India, China, he will get subsidy. US has the same thing. So India will be the best destination for all such countries, those who are in search of an alternate to the China. So we have definite an opportunity after post-COVID for these pharmaceuticals and medicines. But our educational institutes, the position is already described by Ashutosh ji, that it is not match with the requirement of the university, requirement by the nation. Second thing, as far as the educational institute is concerned, the IPR, the Bauddhika Sampada, we are far behind. There is no awareness. You see the data of the last year, patent filed worldwide, 7 lakhs patent filed by the China. 6.5 lakhs patent filed by the US. As far as the India is concerned, we have contributed only 47,000 patent. Means we are lag behind. There is no awareness. Now, out of this 47,000 patent filed by India, most of from the corporate house, from the multinational companies, the contribution of academic institutes in patent filing is 15%. While the ratio in US, China, the contribution of academic institutes in patent filing is higher than the corporate house, than the industry. Our has the reverse position. So there must be it is the challenge with the university or the educational institute to have a dedicated cell for innovation, for startup. They have the incubation center. They have a dedicated cell for IPR. And then we are ready to beat the challenges. No doubt, government is taking so many measures. They have under the Atal Innovation Policy, the incubation center were established throughout the India in a different university with a different sectors. Even at school level, Atal Tinkering Labs were established. 3,000 schools having these benefits, and it is more 3,000 schools will be added this year. So government is trying to develop an ecosystem and having a for innovation, for a research, because India is potential to our technocrats are potential. Our budding technocrats are very potential to beat these challenges after post-COVID. In another matter with the healthcare, you see the number of patients. They are compared to the other countries, we are less. And the activity of the Ayush department after when this Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Bhai Modi taken charge, they have separated the Ayush ministry from the health ministry, and there is a separate budget allocation. And slowly now our indigenous system of medicine, Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha, homeopathy, yoga, now they are getting supports. Slowly it is developed. And previously we have our own indigenous system, even utilized by since time immemorial, but the Ayurvedic system is not accepted in developed countries as an official system of medicine. The Chinese herbal medicine, the traditional system of China, that is accepted in developed countries. But Ayurvedic system of medicine, Ayurvedic medicines are not accepted. They are rejecting because we are not providing the scientific data as per the modern science required, the clinical data, the impurity, and other so many data as per the requirement of the modern science. We are not providing the data. As far as the standardization of medicinal drugs, herbal plants, herbal drugs, we are lag behind. And that's why, even though it's a very old system, but now we are not penetrated to the developed countries. But in this COVID, the task force is created by the government of India. Task force, that is the which include the persons from the Ayurveda or the traditional system, from modern system also, from ICMR also. And luckily the secretary of the Ayush, Mr. Rajesh Kotecha, he is the well-known Vaidya, means from a Ayurvedic system of medicine. This task force is headed by Mr. Bhushan Patwardhan. Dr. Bhushan Patwardhan is the vice chairman of the UGC, but he is a herbal scientist, and he connects the modern science and the traditional science. So this task force is working. The different committees and the protocols are approved by the government, and 50,000 patients are under the Ayurvedic medicine treatment with their consent and all these things. So, and the results are very good. As far as the Gujarat is concerned, there are 6,000 under this Ayush medicine, and not a single is found positive. Those who have taken this medicine, not a single positive case after the treatment of this. No doubt, this drug is for immunity boosting drug. It is not to just to cure the symptoms of the COVID, but it increases the immunity of the body. Swasthasya Swasthya Rakshanam. So, and that will fight with the virus and save the patient. So there is lot of, now this data will be ready. The scientific study is going on, and definitely the post-COVID, these Ayush medicines will be also like a yoga. This medicine will be also penetrated to the different countries. So there is a lot of potentiality in this area also. So in my opinion, no doubt, at one agency says that the unemployment will be boosted from 8.5% to 23% in India. But it can be, means this challenges can be converted into opportunity also after post-COVID. And if the educational institutes will be ready, will be changed in their pedagogy, because they are not flexible. They are not accept the changes immediately. So there must be pedagogical changes are required. And definitely the process will start, and we will convert these problems into opportunity. I think this is the brief related with the employment and the entrepreneurship. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. It was very informative. In fact, now many people were telling in the chat, this is a very informative session. And that too, when you pointed out, the statistics between statistics on the patent by China, US, and India. So, no, that's really a alarming statistics. I think as educators, we all have to work together to increase that. So, you do you have any idea on that, sir? Any thoughts on that? How do we improve that statistics for our nation? Is there a way? Is there any guidance or inputs you wish to give it to teachers?
So, my university has formed a dedicated IPR cell, and very first we have large scale awareness program. Means we are continuously arranging the awareness program. Our 7,000 teachers were trained for this IPR. We are arranging the the patent drafting, claims, and other thing, that type of the works. We have changed in our pedagogy, means the master year students and the research students. So in those area he is working, the research area, he has to search. We are providing the software facility, PETSER, to search the research in that area. So student has to place the report, patent search report, PSAR, analytical report, in that their dissertation work. And about 20,000 students were also trained. And slowly we are getting the results. Last year only, my university filed 67 final patent filed by my university. We are providing students with the help of the SSIP scheme, 25,000 to each students for this patent filing.
Excellent, sir. I think that's the way in which we should work. Maybe create a large awareness among students, then facilitate them with all the required tools and techniques, and also motivate educators to pursue their own research. And then see, a lot of people would have done something, but they wouldn't have filed for the patent. Do you think that's the reason, sir? Or are we have not done any work, or we have done the work and we have not filed the patent?
Then, in my opinion, there is lot of innovation, there is lot of research going on in different universities, but there is a lack of awareness.
Okay.
Lack of awareness. So, large-scale workshop, awareness programs are required. For your information, on 16th, we are celebrating our foundation day of the university, and we have a large-scale awareness on that day also for the IPR.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for your inspiring session. Thanks a lot for taking time out of your busy schedules. I was told from your office, you are continuing to do your work, and there are a lot of work which is happening in the university too. So thank you very much for being with us and inspiring such a large number of educators from all states across India, sir. Thank you very much for being with us, sir.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
I have one more meeting with you.
Thank you, sir.